Hydrated. It's important.
2, 3. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Talker Mike. Cheers! And today, who we got in the house?
Oh shit, Tunde.
Oh shit,
I have to say it
today.
with some stamina,
Yes,
some
yes,
oomph.
yes. And today we wanna. And oh, by the way, I'm your host, Jay Tendo. Can't forget that part. Yes.
Yes.
Today we want to talk about why are a lot of people unhappy in relationships. But before we start, I'll let my guest introduce himself one more time, and then we'll dive into it.
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name is Tunde. Also go by stage name Oshe Tunde.
Okay,
I
okay.
am a multidisciplinary creative entrepreneur. So I'm a DJ. I'm an event host, event producer. Have a background in finance. So I graduated, worked on Wall Street for 2 years. Also a background in entrepreneurship. I worked at several early stage startups. And also have a background in venture capital, so investing in startups. So yeah, I do a lot of things.
Sounds good. And okay, quick question for you, O'Shea. As a good-looking, tall, strong man like you,
Nigerian man.
what is your
Understand?
relationship status?
Oh,
Or what is your relationship status?
I'm very much single and focused on myself right
Okay,
now. Right now.
ladies, you heard single and focused, but guess what? You can still slide in his DM. You never know, right? So let's get to the point, right? Relationships. It seems like it's on the lips of everybody. You know, relationships are this. Everybody has the opinions, yada yada, this and that, right?
True.
Why does it seem? I wouldn't say everybody, but it seems like a lot of people are unhappy in relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I
Okay.
really don't want to be another corny black guy on the podcast talking about relationships, but I don't know. I think I have a different view and a different perspective. And a lot of it has to do with my background. So I studied economics and psychology, which are actually very similar. And for me, I take a lot of those principles and then I apply them to like real life contexts and situations. And so, like, I think when you talk about happiness, and even maybe like this concept of in economics utility, right? So basically just maximizing the value you get out of something. A lot of economists are basically trying to come up with the formula to kind of quantify happiness, and that formula kind of breaks down to a function of your expectations and your reality, right? So when your expectations exceed your reality, typically you're disappointed, right?
Okay.
And the converse is also true. When your reality exceeds your expectations, you're overjoyed. And when I think about like the things that I see kind of in the dating world and even my own personal experiences, I think it just comes down to kind of like a mismatch in terms of like understanding the environment and what you want, and then also kind of like, sorry, what you want versus the environment that you're operating in. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you're a man or a woman or a tree or whatever, animal, whatever,
True or not.
if you're trying to be in a relationship, what you're trying to do is you're basically negotiating with another person, right? And you two are basically kind of like interviewing each other, dating. The act of dating is like even performative of itself. Two people dress up, they come and sit down together, and then they lie to each other for 2 hours until they eventually get comfortable enough to like tell each other the truth. So
Okay.
I think for me, when it comes to the question of why are people unhappy, it's because you have certain expectations about what you're looking for, and the reality is not really matching up for that. And so I think if people took more of a kind of like a first principles approach to dating, or even more of like I don't want to make it sound like it's transactional, but there is kind of like the idea of getting a deal done with somebody. If I want you to be my girlfriend, if I want you to be my husband, that's a deal. Two people who have different priorities, things that they want to get out of something, have to come together and make an agreement. And if you're not on the same page, or if you pretend to be on the same page and you sign a contract that says like this is what I want, but you don't actually want that because you're not being truthful about what you want, then you're going to be unhappy with either the situation that you end up in, right? Or unhappy because you can't get into a situation that you want
Okay.
to. So
So let me ask you a quick question. So do you think that it's either really happiness or is just peace is what everybody's looking for in a relationship?
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the person. Everybody's
Yeah.
looking for different things, but
Right.
ultimately, right, at the end of the day, I think people want peace, right? And people
Does
want
that
happiness.
kind of connect a little bit?
Kind of, and not really at the same time, right? Happiness is not something that I think you can find in another person. And if you outsource your happiness to other people, or even like you put kind of like a lot of your self-worth into dating, whether or not you're able to get a partner, or whether or not you're able to sleep with a lot of people, you'll end up being unhappy, because if you by doing that, you put the power in another person.
Yeah, you put that burden on someone too.
Yeah, you give them the power, and then if that person decides to walk away from you, or if your partners decide to walk away from you and you're dating, then you're left feeling unfulfilled. So fulfillment and happiness has to come from inside. On the other hand, you talked about peace. Peace is something that, like, I think you can find yourself, but also you can find it with another person. And I do think that there are certain things that, like, you can work on by yourself, but there are also certain things that you need to be in a relationship to work on, like compromise and, putting aside your ego, and like just like generally just working together with another person. You can spend all the time you want to in the hyperbolic time chamber living alone, but like unless you're in a relationship with somebody, there's a certain level of like elevation that you can't get to,
So basically find happiness within yourself
first.
and then find someone that complements that, and
Right.
you guys are on the same page on that. Some days they might not be on the same happy vibration as you, but just know that it's a team effort, right?
Right.
And just making sure that you guys' values align.
Right.
Correct?
Right. Yeah. And like earlier, kind of Jay and I were talking about green flags and things that because like we're kind of what we've been talking about up until now is kind of more just like theoretical stuff, right? So how does this become a little bit more tangible instead of theory? And I think it's like understanding, like when I say
and
like
real quick, I don't mean to cut you. Green flags. You want to explain that to the audience what that?
Yeah,
would mean,
so on
what a
social
green
media,
flag is?
on social media for like the last maybe like year and a half or whatever, there's been this idea of like red flags, right?
Okay.
Things that are like warning signs in a relationship that like
Okay.
this might not go well, right? And sometimes, red flags don't come off immediately as red. Sometimes they're pink flags. It's like, oh, this is weird.
Oh, I
But,
never
like,
heard that one. Pink flag.
pink flags. But you make up an excuse for it because, this person's really attractive, or they're funny, or they have a lot of money. And then eventually, like, that pink flag, which is like a tiny thing, gets bigger and bigger and deeper and redder. And then it becomes a red flag. And it's not until you get out of that relationship and sometimes you're maybe hurt that you're looking back. They're like, oh, wait, if I was like, now that I'm thinking more clearly and there's not emotion attached to it, like, I should have seen this thing earlier. Okay. So on the converse, right, I don't want to just frame relationships in a negative light and only talk about red flags. Like, there are green flags and things that you should look for, right? So again, going back to this whole overarching theme of expectations and reality, I think a lot of times we're trained in society to look for certain things in partners. As men, maybe you're looking for beauty, or you're looking for someone with a certain type of body
you're
shape.
looking for big behind.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, especially African men. So like, and some of that is genetics, right? Like you want to find a partner that's like a suitable mate, right? For women, sometimes it's money, height, six pack, those type. They talk about like the 3 or 4 sixes that like 6 feet,
six figures,
six pack.
How
all
tall
those
are
things.
you, by the way?
6'6".
You're a pretty tall dude.
6.
Ladies,
6.
ladies, he's very tall. So if you're into tall men, and
I'm not lying. You know, people on Hinge be lying. I'm not lying.
Yeah, really
But,
tall.
If those are the things that you're looking for, all of those things that we kind of just talked about are physical characteristics.
Okay.
And they almost basically have absolutely zero correlation with whether or not someone's going to be a good person or a good provider.
Or align with your values.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So then when we talk about green flags, for me, in terms of like how can I have better outcomes in my dating situations, it's about understanding like what am I actually looking for? Like what would be a nice to have versus what's mandatory. And for me, it's like green flags are good communicator. Can communicate how they feel and can work through their emotions.
That's key.
Self-awareness,
key, yep.
right? Because before you can communicate how you feel, you have to be aware of how you feel. Good at setting and maintaining boundaries, right? What else? Someone who is trustworthy. If you're always like looking over my shoulder and my phone, then like, that doesn't build a
like
good foundation
drama already. Yeah, and
exactly.
Toxic environment.
Right.
Already.
Growth-minded, right? So someone who's like willing to do the hard work that it takes to grow.
So, ladies, if you're listening to him, that's kind of his green flags, So if you're gonna
Yeah.
slide in his DM.
Yeah, and
sure
I
you
try to
check
embody
those
these
box.
too. And
Yeah.
the last one I would say is gratitude, right? Because like as I can't remember what his name is. The song is like problem, they
Finish,
finish,
something like that.
make you try, they
Hey,
enjoy.
let's pause there before they come get us with
Right, you know what I'm saying? Copyright.
copyright.
We do
Yeah.
not own the rights to any of
We
this
do
music.
not. We do not.
To be very clear.
For the record, yes.
Right. So yeah, gratitude is really important because I think a lot of times when you're in like a negative spiral, it's easy to like think about all the bad things or compare yourself to other people or even other people's relationships. And the way you get out of that spiral, at least for me, is by counting your blessings and being grateful for what you have. So I look for those like I can't remember how 5 or 6 green flags
the
in a
green
partner,
flags.
and it's like at the end of the day, understand this: relationships are hard work no matter what.
Yep.
So this idea of like this is a soft year, a soft life. If you stress me, I disappear. It's like, well, you know,
You're never gonna find the one. That's for sure.
right. Like if you want to be in an 80-year relationship, I think Michelle Obama was talking about this recently with Barack and like how like there were times in their marriage where like she wasn't in love with him, right? Because like she's over here taking care of the kids and he's finding time to like go to the gym and golf and stuff, or like, you know, he's running the country.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to kind of ask yourself like fundamental questions. Am I better off being with this person? Does this person make me better? Do they provide value? Like what are you have to remember the things that like why you got into it, because love is cyclical, right? Like sometimes it's really high and then it'll go low and really, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you want to have a long-term relationship and if you're talking about till death do us part, which to me is crazy,
That
by
part,
the way.
yeah.
But that's a long time. So it's like
That'll be a different story for another day. Yeah,
Right.
we can dive into that in more details on the next one. So
But
that do us apart.
to expect that you're gonna be in love with someone for the entirety of a relationship,
Yeah.
to me is almost like unrealistic. And
Yeah.
so it's like when the love is gone, right?
What do you have to stand on?
Right. When the heart is like not there, what does the head think? You know, those things kind of have to be in alignment in just the general direction that you're heading in. But when they're out of
Yeah.
alignment, that's when, you know, the heart is saying, oh, I like this person because, you know, the sex is great or her body's great or, you know, I'm saying he flies me out and da, da, da. But your head is like,
So
nah.
let's bring it back to the core. So it sounds like the reason why a lot of people are unhappy in relationships, it seems, right, is unrealistic expectations, right?
Sure.
And maybe a little bit of materialistic or materialism in there. You know, 6 feet, 6 figure. You know, because that dude can
Yeah.
be 6 feet, 6 figure, but does he do it for you? You know,
Right.
is he aligned with your values?
Yeah.
Does he want the same thing as you want? Right.
Yeah.
What was the other thing that came up in this conversation?
And I mean, kind of just talking about for the men too, like just because this person has whatever body doesn't mean that she's a good
big
person.
behind or big nosh.
Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know if it's materialism, because like it's okay to not like nice things, but like
we all have our preference.
right,
you
it's
know?
just about like how you prioritize
The balance,
You know what I'm saying? If the materialistic thing or the like the physical characteristic is higher than the things that's more fundamental, and then you have a bad relationship, it's almost like who can you blame but yourself? You chose
you
that.
You can get a baddie with a nasty attitude, and you can get a not so baddie but with a great attitude, right? So that's just,
And you can have a rich guy that you date who treats you like garbage. People don't talk about that reverse. It's like, oh, I want him to fly me out to Paris. Like, there's like some meme that was talking about like this year there's no talking stages. It's either we're going to Paris or we're not. And it's like,
oh, that's how it is now.
there are strings there are things that come along with being flown out to Paris. It's like, are you ready for that as well? And that's a different conversation. But
Wow.
those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Tunde, it's been a really good conversation. I feel
Yeah.
like we can keep going down that rabbit hole and just keep digging in. There's a whole lot around this topic. We would like to continue another time, maybe with some female audience here, so we can
Oh,
get
boy.
their perspectives.
Right.
But this has been our take, and thank you so much, O'Shea Tunde. Do you thanks for making the time, because I know you were trying to. Well, I was trying to get you on here for a while. And
Yeah, look, guys, I've been trying to get on this guy's podcast for like 9 months. He
And,
just travels the world.
oh,
Big
man.
Accra guy.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Making
Anyways.
music. You know what I'm
Anyway,
saying?
just about that.
Check out his song on Apple Music, bro. Enjoy life.
If you're looking for Afrobeat music, I'm your artist. Check me out at JAY_TENDO on Instagram, and follow me anywhere on at JTando. And if you have any plugs to O'Shea, feel free to go for it.
Yeah, I'll just say if you're looking for, a DJ to turn your stuff up, that's me. And also a host, right? So Not only do I DJ, I also
You said
host.
ho?
Host.
I'm just
I host
I'm
parties
just kidding, guys. Yeah.
too, and I do all formats: hip hop,
Yeah.
R&B, Afro beats, Amapiano, Caribbean, soca music. We can do it all, and we'll turn your party up. So you can follow me on Instagram, Maison Kalani, MaisonKelani, because you know we French and fancy with it, bad and bougie,
Ooh,
all of that.
okay.
And yeah, until next time,
Nice.
man.
Until next time, ladies, slide in his DMs. And if you like this content, what do? Like, share, comments.
Subscribe.
Let us know your thoughts. And thank you for the time, and thank you for watching. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell button. Subscribe. All right.
Subscribe and send this to one friend. That's how you help a small business. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta distribute. All right. All right. Peace, guys. Cheers.
Later.